Hello everyone. Just checking the audio before we start. Hello everyone. Just checking the audio before we start. Hello everyone. Just checking the audio before we start. Hello everyone. Just checking the audio. Hello everyone. I hope you are well. My name is Renato, and here we will talk about a little bit more about what we were talking in the last week. Okay, so welcome to the Shedmate Live, and I'm really glad to be here. Today we will talk about a few points that may help you during the onboarding phase. So if you don't know Shedmate yet, or if you are on the on-hold process, we are really happy to you be here in this live section. And today we will talk about some points, and these will be basically for new customers or those who have a lot of questions about the Shedmate setup and so on. Okay, so the goal for these sections is to help you better to understand better the platform, structure, and avoid common onboarding mistakes. So you, uh, as we said in the last week, right? When you are changing softwares, sometimes you are a little bit afraid of how the onboarding process will flow and how many changes you will need to do in your team to reflect in a good usage of the system, of these new systems. So today we will go through some basic steps that will show to you how easy Shedmate can be implemented in your company. Okay, so just a second, I will just open here something that I want to show. And basically, today we will start this new presentation here that I'm just opening. Just a second. Yeah. So this is our episode number 6, and the main title is Getting Started with Shedmate and Static Quoting. So I believe that static quoting is the most important step, and probably we will talk more about this in the next week. But today we will have a good understanding about this, and just to initialize the steps about this matter. And okay, so first thing, I will just mention what we will cover today, or what we will try to cover. If we don't cover all the points, we will make sure that the next week we will cover them. Okay, so what we will cover: configuring your first project workflow with tags. So I will demonstrate an example how tags works. So this is related to the project workflow and project administrations. That's a really simple feature that can help you a lot on this. The second thing will be inviting team members. So we will check how is the process to add team members in your workspace in Shedmate. The third point will be setting permissions and access levels. We will have an idea of what we can do in Shedmate about the restrictions. And we will understand also how static quoting works. And we will talk a little bit about the layout of the instant quoting, and so on. So you will have a better understanding what is this and how this is so important in Shedmate. Okay. So the first part that I want to mention here is to configuring your project workflow, as we name here tags. So I have already I already worked in the project administration, and I know that sometimes it's really difficult to let every team member in the same page. Yeah, we have a lot of process in the shared business, like we have the coding process, we have the first the prospect. We will yeah, they will prepare a model of the shed that they want, and we will send the quote, and after the quote be accepted, we have the council stages, and we will have also the ordering stages, and it's a lot of things that uh, even if you use another software about management, uh, Shedmate can give you a really good understand about the things just by the tags. That is something that I will show. Okay, just a second. I will just change here to what I want to show. And yeah, basically it's this. So we are here in a company that's called Shedmate Beta, and here we have just our team that do some tests and some adjustments before going to the production as well. So what we can see here is that as you are already familiar with Shedmate, if you aren't, that yeah, don't worry. We will during these webinars we will talk more and more about the layout and what works and what not works for you. It will depend on your company settings and so on. So we can see here that we have the tab drafts as an example, and we have the jobs. I am in the drafts tab here, and we can see that like this company here has almost 600 drafts. So it's a lot of models, different models. We can just roll down a little bit here, scroll down, and we can see that we have a lot of things, and it's really difficult to everyone be in the same page. So this and we have developed in the past a feature that's called tags that will help a lot you in the project administration and the project management. Okay, so as an example, this one, I have just created a shed, and it's called Filho Renato, and the number of the draft is this one. This is the name. And I have just added here a tag that's called quote sent to customer. So everyone who opens Shedmate and access this draft, and only by viewing this in the list, we can see that uh, these drafts is already being quote. We have already sent the quote. Okay, so we have you can create a lot of tag names that you want. So I have just assigned this one to deal lost. So for some reason you lost this job for a competitor, or by any chance the client didn't want to move forward with this. So the tags, it's like some labels that you can add to its project, and it will help your team to manage things. Okay, so I will just show an example how we can do this, how we can add. So let me just open here. That is a shed created by Francisco probably, and we can see here that we have this red uh, signal here that is showing invalid category. So tags are related to categories that you can create. Okay, so if I click here, we can see that we have already created some. That's our default, but you can create new ones if you want. So We have here new, quoting, quote sent to customer, following up, and I will just add a new category here that we can create it. So uh, let's say that I want Renato to quote. So yeah, I have already created this one. So let's suppose that is Chris to quote. So everyone knows that the Chris will be the responsible for this chat, to quote the chat. And you can see that I have already in the past added Renato to quote and Chris to quote. So all team members will know now that that specific job was to Chris to quote, that is here. So, and something that works with tags as well. I will just add this one as well to Chris to quote. Okay, and I will return to drafts. And something that you can do is to use our filters here. And as an example, if you have a big team and a lot of salesperson to make the sales and a lot of engineers to check the design and so on, estimators and so on, you can use this filter as well. So I will just filter by the ones that I have just created, Chris to quote. So now Chris, if he is starting the day in Shedmate, and start the day to work, let me see what the ones I have to quote today, or what the ones I left yesterday, and I didn't have time to do this yesterday, and I will just do this today. So Chris have a good idea of how many and all the information that comes with this as well. Okay. So basically this, this was our first point that I wanted to mention. And we can go now to the second point. So just to let you know, guys, if you have any questions, you can let us know in the chat, okay? And we will be happy to help you to understand more about your needs, okay? So let me just open here again. And okay, so the first point was about the tags that I have already showed, and now we will see how to invite team members. So as I said before, this is really easy in Shedmate. So if you have a big team or a small team, it doesn't matter for Shedmate, because we can set up things really faster here. Okay, so as is in the presentation, once the workflow is configured, the next step is to bring in your team into the platform. So I will try to show some examples that how these things can happen in your company here. So as an example, you can invite not only just the team members that you want, but some third party in your business. As an example, a supplier. A supplier can have access to your Shedmate environment. And what I will show in the next point is how to restrict some permissions, okay, about this. So just a second, I will just change here to return to our Shedmate company. Okay, and it's really simple. You can access here the tab on settings, and the first option is invite a new user. So we have some fields to fill here. The email, the first name and the last name, that's something optional, and the user role, right? Here we have two options. We have the admin and the regular user. So the difference is basically that the admin will have access to everything. So we recommend you to only set as admin the team members that you will that you want to see everything, to have every access that Shedmate can have, okay, in your company. And regular users are the ones that you want to restrict a little bit some information that I will show you an example in a few minutes, okay? So previous to this webinar, I just sent an invite to another email that I use, okay? And I just filled the spaces here, email, first name, last name, and user role, and I received an email that I will show here, just to just to confirm how the person that you invited will receive this in the email. Okay, just a second. I would just open here the email I mentioned. So okay, this is just a personal email that I use, and I'm just using this as an example. So that is a logo of Shedmate, and welcome to Shedmate. And right, Renato, welcome to Shedmate, the most advanced software to create your fully detailed Shed minutes. Okay, so here your team member will just confirm their account, and they will need to create a password to Shedmate. Just Shedmate, really easy, really simple, and this is how we invite team members. Okay, so I will just open here I will log in this account right after the third point that I want to mention. Okay, so you can see how easy it is, and we can go now to the next step. So you could notice that like it took almost 2 minutes to just send an invitation, and it's really easy to accept as well. So the first thing is to invite team members, and after that we can set user permissions. User permissions, as I said before, is something that Shedmate created to restrict some options, some access to some specific clients. Okay, so how to do this? When I invited myself to the company, I set this as regular user, and now we will restrict some options for the user that I just invited. Okay, so I will just open here again the Shedmate, right? Okay, I am the Shedmate, and I can open settings as well. And we can see here that we have managed user access to my company. If I search for me, Renato, it was my email. Just a second. Yeah, this was the one that I invited. That was just me. I just used a fake number here, and my personal email that I use. And as we can see here, I set this user is set as regular user. And here we have the permissions. That's something that I will show to you how to edit this. So we have here some permissions, and this one I set this one as distributors. Okay, and we can check now what is the restrictions that this person will have. Okay, so we can go to settings, and we have here the option to edit user permissions, and here it's the area that you can manage these things. Okay, so we have already created some just to give as a point of start. And we have here the estimator, the project manager, the salesperson, the testing, that was just one that we created, the view only jobs, and the distributors. That's the one that I assigned it to that specific user that we have just invited to the company. Okay, so we can create one from scratch. So let's suppose that you want to create some of them, and but I will use just the distributors that is the one that is assigned to that person. Okay, so here we can delete, duplicate, and to edit this, I will just edit. Okay, and here we'll have some options to restrict the usage of the Shedmate. Okay, for that person. So as an example, we have some fields here. We have the jobs as an example. Jobs will refers to this section. We have the engineering, that is site Shedmate. In another webinar we can talk more about this. We have drafts, and we have the Shed Designer, and a lot of properties that you have the power of restrict or not to some specific users. Okay, so for this one, that this permission name is called a distributor. So we can see here that we have some permission levels. I will just job as an example. If you have, if you are unsure about, you can just click on more info, and it will have a label of the things that we can do. Okay, so you can see here that we have 4 options to click. So the first one is the symbol here that means no access. So if I set this and hit save, uh, the person that we invited will not have access to jobs. This section here will not show to them. So for this example, I will just use this as view access, because just thinking, if he is a supplier or distributor, they can see the shed. He will see the shed, but I don't want he to edit anything in the shed. So the visibility that I will give to this user is just the view access. If we click here, it will turn in edit access or the full access as well. Okay, so I will just select the second option. That means that he will have just the only access, okay, to this. Engineering, we will not give any drafts as well, because probably yeah, like usually the supplier and the distributor is just related to the projects that are already passed through the quoting stage. Is something more near to the end of the project, because they want to see which materials they will order and so on. So I will not give access to drafts. To the shed design I will, but just the view access as well. Site plan, just the view access, and frame fabrication as well. But basically it's this. You can change it here. You can have a look that have a lot of things to restrict the the options. Okay, and I will just hit save. And sorry. So this permission here will have all that restrictions that we just applied. And I will just open here to see how is in the user's access, okay, the user screen. How do they will check this to see this in the their perspective, okay? So I will just open an incognito tab here. I will access app Shedmate, and I will log in with that account that I have just created. Just type the email. Okay, and the password. So let's log in. Let's see if it will work. Yeah, probably. Oh, it's not AU, sorry. Just the email that's wrong. Let's check if it will work. Okay, so I have just opened in Shedmate Beta. Okay, and I think that we can see now is that, as I said, we can see the section of drafts. So this is really simple to configure as I showed. And let's just open that one that Chris has to quote. So I will just open this one and we can see how it will look like. Okay, here we can see that we have here the tag that's view only. So the supplier or the distributor will try to change, but it will be locked. The price as well. So for this example, we have this price here, and yeah, it's something that's locked. We can see, but this is what we set. Okay, so we have here some options: show all, architectural view, fabrication view, the perspective. So this is really interesting, you know, like if the person doesn't need to have access, you can just set up things, and they will have, even with if the possibility of not editing, they can have a very good example of how the things will work. Okay, so let's just say to show all here, and I want to see the perspective view. So let's suppose that it's a rector that needs to just have a look on how it is on 3D and not only in the plans. So he can check here. Yeah, okay, the buildings are C250. Okay, yeah, it's matching. And if some worker has some questions on site, he can just check this as well. So let's see, we can have a look on the side of the shed as well. Oh, we can check also where is the fly bracings. So sometimes maybe the plane's a little bit small, and we can see. Let's suppose this. So we can see that we have in the first and in the third purling, and the fifth purling we have the fly bracing. And it's really good because even if we are not updating the shed and editing the shed, we have the options to tag, to zoom out, zoom in. So we have the option to check the footings as well, and so on, you know. And we have some fabrication view as well, that's just frames, and we can see how the girts are uh, set up and so on. Spacing we can measure as well. So this is really 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 good to uh, to give this permission if the guy or the girl don't need to change the the project. Okay, so okay, so let's go to our next point here. I hope it's been helpful for you guys. I will just open another screen here, and yeah. So the part 3 was to use to set user permission. So as I said, if you have any questions, just let your comment below, and we will be happy to answer your questions. Okay, so let's go to the next point. Okay, so the part 4, I believe that we can start now, is understanding the stunting quoting. Okay, so this will be just the the first step into the stunting quoting. We will talk more about this in the next week. But the main goal here is just to show to you a little bit how the things works in the instant quote section. Okay, so this is, I believe that's the part of the onboarding that took more time, but as we said, you don't need to configure everything at the first moment. But the good thing is that once you do this, once everything's set up, the things to change and the things to to update and to go further and further, it's really fast. It's really simple to do once this is configured. Okay, so in this last part and in the next week as well, we will focus on the instant quoting. Okay, so as I wrote here, before customers start building or modify pricing structures, that's something that we will show. It's important to understand how the different sections of instant quoting work together. Okay, so I will just return to the to the company that we were. Okay, so we can see that this is still restricting. We have still a restriction here. So I will just come back to the user that I have access. Okay, so just a second, and we can talk about this new point. Okay, so this is the example that I just want to show, that we can have a fast look here in the shed. So we have the shed, we have the awnings. Shedmate support awnings as well. And here we have just hide the roof. That's something that you can do. We just hide the roof just to see how the mezzanine are. How the mezzanine is, how is the spacement, and so on. We can have a look on footings as well. So let's suppose that this is something that the client decided to go ahead with. Okay, so now that we have all the shed here, we can set up a price. Okay, so I have already done this one. That this is just an example. So this is the amount, and we can check here that it's associated to some groups. Yeah, this is fully customizable. Just keep in mind that this is just an example, okay, of a company that we create just for tests, but you can customize everything that's here as well. Okay, so let's suppose that the shed materials, it's costing this amount. We have the fabrication, the delivery, that's something that you can change inside Shedmate as well. We can talk about this later. We have the concrete, we have the brackets and the accessories, we have the engineering fees and the erections for the shed kits as well. So we have all these groups together. We will have the amount that Shedmate is calculating here. Okay, so how does Shedmate do this? Okay, so we can see that we have a database that is associated to this company. So as an example, we are using this master template in this company, but your company can be your own template. Okay, so so we can ask how Shedmate can how Shedmate knows how many what's the total amount. So this the answer for this is because Shedmate, the 3D online designer, is integrated with what we call instant quoting. Okay, so I will show to you. For this specific project here, I will just duplicate the tab on my browser, and I will just create a new tab, and I will access the static quoting. Okay, so this is just the first step that we will explain, and after we can talk more about this. So we have here the option that is static quoting. We can open this, and when we open the static quoting, you can think that this is a lot of information that is really difficult to understand. So in this step, that's the part 504 that I prepared, is just to go through some sections in instant quoting. Okay, so we have here the summary. Let's start with this. Don't worry about this yet. So the summary. We have here some options to add in our inclusions. It's about the text, so I can just type a text here, and it will be included in our inclusions, exclusions, general notes, and terms and conditions. This is associated with the quoting template and with the contract template that we have inside Shedmate. So Shedmate not just give to you the full total amount of the project, but it generates also quoting documentations automatically and contract templates and contract documentations completed. Okay, yeah, ready to send to the client. So this is not something that we will cover today, but I want just to mention that the summary section, it's related to the quotings, okay? Quoting or contract documentation or any other document that you want Shedmate to generate, okay? But basically and usually it's quoting and contract, okay? So we have also the second one is the pricing database. So we can have a look that we have a lot of items here. So sometimes when you are a new user in Shedmate and you just see a lot of a lot of information, you get a little bit worried, but you don't need to worry. So just to summarize what pricing database is, sorry, the pricing database is the list of all items that you probably will use in your projects, okay? So I will just give an example, okay? So this project here, by checking these, we can see that we don't have, as an example, skylights. Yeah, we can add, that's no problem to add here. We can add skylights here. But for this specific project, I will just not use skylights. Okay. But when we open here and if we check for skylights, we will have an item name that seems SCM. That's just the abbreviation of Shedmate. That's an item that is included in our database. Okay. So skylight sheets. So here we have just an example. As I said, the pricing database is everything that probably will be in your shed. In your shed is the items, all the items that you use. Okay, so as I said, the shed doesn't have any, but here we have. And here we have some information, the RAP code that you can change. So I don't want to use these. I would just say, yeah, this one is the supplier A as an example, or the code that you want. We have here the category that you can change. We have some categories here on Shedmate that will cover all the items that you need. Okay, so as an example, this one, we will just set that as a cladding. We have the unit. So I want to specify my skylight in meters or in, yeah, we have some about area as well, but it will not make sense for the skylights. Okay, so I would just use the meters price. Okay, so each meter will cost this price. I can just round up, and here is a description that we can add. Okay, so this is basically the main purpose of the pricing database. Okay, I will just let you know what means this last column in a second, but we can go to the third section here. Okay, here is the pricing calculations. So the difference, we can see that we have a bunch of items as well. So the difference between the pricing database in pricing calculation. It's just that here we have the information about the material, about the unit, as we said, about the price. And here we will let Shedmate know how to calculate that item. Okay, so how to estimate the amount of that item in Shedmate. So this is basically the difference between them. And here we can see that we have also the total amount. And here is everything that's being calculated directly in Shedmate. Okay, so if I sort, we have almost the same structure, but we have the item name. These two small columns here is just some warnings that sometimes if an item has some warning, it will show this yeah, an advertiser here. Okay, we have linked to, that is the name of the item that's linked. So the link that we mentioned is the item itself with the pricing calculation, how it's calculated. So here's just the name. Usually they are the same, but you can change this. And we have here the category, the group, the unit, the quantity. We have also the price per unit, the items, and the price total. So here is where the things get really interesting in Shedmate, okay? So I know that Shedmate internally is calculating all these items with the rules that I choose. And I will just sort out, is just click on the price total to see the pricing, what's costing more and what's costing less in this specific project. Okay, so we can see here that it's about 22, yeah, 22,000. It's about the shed kit erection. So in this example, we just used 50% of the total cost of the shed materials. And we can see here what is costing more or less. Okay, so let's just open here. We can see that this project has 24 meters length, and we have also an awning. So I believe that the cladding of this will be a good part of the price. Let me search here for cladding. Yeah, so we have here trident, trim deck iron cladding. That's probably, yeah, the walls. And it's really interesting because you can model a shed, and you can play around this and play around what the price will be. And also it will give you a lot of information to call your clients to probably to discuss about a price that would be better to the client, and so so basically is this what this section means. Okay, so and a lot okay, let's just use the example for trim deck. We have here how it's calculated. We can talk about this in the next week, just to not be a lot of information in this one. So something that's really cool in Shedmate that I really like, it's being calculated, and here we have the total price, the total length of cladding of the trim deck iron cladding, and here we have the quantity that are being quantified. So if we click here, just an example, just to show, here is what Shedmate is detecting on the model, and it's bringing into the instant quoting. And inside instant quoting, as I said, you can name a rule of how this item will be calculated. And now you can see how many pieces of cladding and how they are cut and set up in the shed that you are looking. So it's really good. Sorry, I just and the same thing that we can do for the roof as well. So I will just wait wait here a little bit to load. So I will search for cladding. Yeah, we just, yeah. Now we have the corrugated iron cladding that's above the roof, and let's just check. Yeah, we can see that we have the roof of the main shed and the roof of the awning are using the corrugated soft mist. Yeah, this cladding here. So it's really powerful how Shedmate can specify information. So just to review, summary is something that's related to the documentation. Price database is all the items that you want, and with some information, that's the price, the unit, the category, the ERP, and the link, that it's what link this section to this another section. Okay, and here, as I said, we have almost the same information, but we have here the total amount, the total price that the items are costing. Okay, so we can see here in report as well. We have a lot of information here. We can comment about this in another video as well. So we have the user, and here we have more that you can save this database or yeah, reload some the quoting versions. Here we have you have the option to load the database and to save the quoting. So I believe that the next webinar we can talk about the best practices that you need to follow. Okay, in this section here of the instant quote. Okay, so we have the calculation reports. That's really cool as well. So for example, we have this amount of the quantified items. I will just generate here just to let you know how it will show, okay, to you. So yeah, it was downloaded. This is an HLM file. Yeah, and you have here everything that's been calculated. We have the footings, the structural frames, and all the list of this. Okay, the gutters. So it's everything integrated. You notice that it took only like 4 seconds, 5 seconds to generate this. So this is something really good. And the cheat sheet, we have commented about this in the last webinar in an example that Arthur gave about the contract, but something that we can cover next as well. So basically it's this, guys, what I want to show. So the main purpose here wasn't just to calm down you a little bit, because I know that when we are just getting Shedmate and we open the static quoting, we have a lot of information, a lot of colors, but this is just something really, really intuitive. Yeah. And as I said, this is something that step by step you will create your database. We have a course about this as well, that you can just go here on your Shedmate environment, and we have here our help desk. We are updating these, and we can check this, that you have an option here that's course setup pricing, and here we will give you a course of how to price your shed. So we will continue to talk with these about this in the next webinar, but basically this is something that I wanted to talk to you. Okay, so guys, thanks for your time. Let me just check if there is anything else to show here. Okay, so yeah, we can have a better understanding of the sample costing database. Just to let you know that once you join the Shedmate, you will not have to build all your costing database alone. So we'll give you an example of how of a fully completed database that you may need to add some items, but you have to delete some. But it's everything that it's something that's really complete. Okay, so you can start from that. Okay, so basically it's this, and yeah, we can talk more about this uh, in the next week. Okay, so yeah, it's about this. Thanks guys for your time. I will just get bigger here. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for your time. I hope that this helps you in get confidence about Shedmate and confidence in this initial stage. Okay, so thank you for your attention. And if you need anything, please you can contact us at support@shedmate.com.au. So if you are new, if you want to know more about Shedmate, about our proposals, about our subscriptions packages, you can contact to sales@shedmate.com.au. Okay, so we yeah, it's basically that, and we have our contact cell phone as well, telephone uh, that you can talk uh, about your questions as well. We have two lines open, that's sales and support. So it's basically the same ones that we have on emails. And something more related to engineering, we have engineering@shedmate.com.au. But if you send support, you that don't know Shedmate, we can cover things for you. Okay, and basically, it's these guys. Thanks for your time once again, and thanks for being here. And I really hope that this webinar, and this series that we are focused on created, it helps you a lot. Okay, so thank you for your time, and we will see you soon in the next week. Okay, bye bye, guys. See ya.